Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another video. You guys have been asking for an updated 2019 studio tour thing, so let's take a look at all my crap. I'm gonna start with the stuff you guys normally see, but I know a lot of people are only here to see what guitars I've kept and play for myself when I'm not doing YouTube stuff. So the timestamps will be in the description if you just want to skip around, because this is a long-ass video. So I actually moved a couple times this year, all within the same city, and it was an absolute pain in the ass, but I've tried to keep everything in front of the camera pretty consistent looking. So here's the desk. Nothing's really changed much from last year. It's IKEA, nothing special. Logitech wireless mouse and keyboard. I got one of the mini keyboards because before I built my desktop for years, I only used Mac laptops, so full-size keyboards just feel wrong. The two displays are Acer 1440p monitors. Bought one new and one from Craigslist, and it's a little yellow, but it's whatever. I just use it for the editing timeline anyways. Right now I'm using KRK Rocket 5s for the studio monitors. I hear they're not the best because they don't have a particularly flat response. I don't do any of my own mixing, so I just use them to dial in tones and check mixes. Over here is the computer itself. It's a Hackintosh that I put together a couple of years ago just for editing. I forgot what's exactly in it, so I'll look it up and throw the specs on the screen so you can check that out if you're interested. Look at that, blue LEDs and water cooling. Looks sick. It was pretty top of the line for 2015, but it's aging a little now, so I'll probably retire this and build a new editing rig soon with more cores and a better graphics card. And use this as like a NAS, a network area storage machine. I don't know, I gotta get more sponsors or push Patreon harder first though, I guess. For all the voice stuff, I'm using a simple condenser mic. It's an AKG P120. It's like 80-ish bucks on Amazon, and it does a pretty good job. Links to all this stuff will be in the description, by the way, if you want more details or are looking to start content creation yourself. Above the desk, wasn't sure what to do with all the stickers I was getting, so I made a sick collage. The original Agufish plush the channel is named after. A bunch of cables, Liverpool, Metallica, moving over to amps. Again, nothing's different with Tone Mountain, Georgia, which is what I call my stack of amps. It's a play on Stone Mountain, Georgia. I've got the same 400 watt heads that I've had for the last, I don't know, at least 18 months. At the top is a Jet City 100 HDM with a Christmas ornament that PRS sent me. It's a silver sky that's red for some reason. But yeah, the HDM, Mike Soldano actually designed the circuit, so it's got that bright overdrive channel with a ton of gain. It's great for rock, but it doesn't really have too much of a clean channel. It's definitely like a one-trick pony, but it does that one trick incredibly well. Jet City was one of the first well-known companies that believed in my channel and sent me stuff to review, and they let me keep the 100 HDM after doing all those videos, which is awesome. So I know a lot of my subscribers are Jet City fans, and they wonder why I don't use it that often. It's literally because the rack level effects loop doesn't like my noise gate, and I hate tracking guitars with preamp hiss. Then there's the Mesa Dual Rectifier, which is the amp that I probably use the most for the channel. I just love the huge round sound that comes out of this thing. Since I started playing guitar, it was my dream to own one of these amps. All my favorite bands growing up used Mesa Dual Rectifiers. So when I was a summer intern for the New York Times, I saved up pretty much every penny and bought this guy off of eBay. It's the latest version with the multi-watt switch. For some reason, I guess maybe it was a store going out of business, it was new, I peeled all the plastic off and everything, but it was a lot cheaper than like the one in Sweetwater. Maybe it was stolen. It's one of the few pieces of gear that I bought new, but I had to have one. Then below that, a made in the USA PV6505 Plus. Managed to snag it off of Craigslist for like $300, $350. I can't remember, but it wasn't expensive. Not much to say about it, really. It's a 6505. It's instant metal, just add water. It has got this high-pitched whine, though, sometimes when I turn it on. So, not sure what that's about, but it hasn't exploded yet, and it sounds good, so whatever. And then the last is the Marshall DSL 100H. It's not the current generation of DSLs, it's last generation's version. I hear the new ones are better, but I'm happy enough with this one, so I haven't felt the need to switch it out. The drive channel sounds surprisingly similar to the Mesa for some reason, except that it's got this weird high mid-range spike. I'm telling you, it's the strangest thing, because Mesa's like one of the poster children for American high gain with big old 6L6s, and Marshall is quintessentially British with EL34s, but then the DSL has a way better clean channel with digital reverb that sounds pretty good, in my opinion. I got this one on Craigslist as well. I traded it for a 6505 Plus combo and a 12-pack of Tecate on July 4th weekend a couple of years ago. but since the new one is out, you can get these for pretty cheap. To be honest, I don't really get gas for amps much anymore. These 4 cover basically everything I need. That being said, I would love to own a Hughes & Kettner Triamp and a Rev generator one day. Not because I need them, but because they're really cool. After those 2, I'm done. No more. Except maybe a nice Fender head for pristine cleans. Then I'm done. The base of Tone Mountain is a Mesa 2x12 cab, which in my opinion is the gold standard for 2x12s. You can run anything through it and it sounds fucking massive. So the way that I'm able to use these monstrous heads in my apartment for the demo stuff is they run from the 8 ohm speaker outputs into the 2 Notes Torpedo Live. The Torpedo is basically like a high-tech speaker cab replacement. You load in IRs, which affect the amp's sound in the same way that a mic speaker would, and that sound goes directly into the interface, which in my case is an Apogee 1. So the sound from my amp through a mic'd speaker cabinet goes directly into Logic. I'm now using the Glenn Fricker IR pack, link in the description. It's like 4 of the best cabs for metal, including Angle and Mesa. So I get that sound without pissing off my neighbors. How cool is that? And then I'm running a separate line out into the Rivera Rock Crusher at the top, which is also a load box, but also a power attenuator. So you put that between your amp and speaker cabinet so you can crank your tube amps to their sweet spot, but then lower the volume to bedroom levels. And so it runs from the Rock Crusher into the Mesa 2x12. So I've got the monstrous tone of a cranked 120 watt PV amp, and it's whisper quiet. I've also found that it sounds better, like if I'm just using the Torpedo's internal load instead of running it into the Rock Crusher, it sounds a lot thinner, brighter, and weaker, and it kind of sounds like crap, and I don't like that. Alright, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I am not really a pedal person, so here is my sad little pedal board. It's powered by an MXR ISO brick. In the effects loop, I have an ISB Decimator 2 to get rid of preamp hiss, a Behringer VD400 analog delay, which you can get on Amazon for like 25 bucks with free shipping, and a Boss CE2 chorus pedal, which I absolutely love for cleans. Then in front of the amps, I've got another ISB Decimator, a Boss TU3 tuner, a Digitech drop pedal, which is stupid amounts of fun, a Horizon Devices Precision Drive, which is now my go-to for tightening up any of the high gain stuff, and a Mission Engineering Rewah Pro, which is the most musical sounding wah pedal I have ever used. And that's it. That's my pedal board. Shout out to Hosa for doing most of my cabling. I'm not being paid to say anything nice about them or anything like that, but they've been such a strong supporter of not just my channel, but the online guitar community in general. Like if you've watched any guitar related channel on YouTube, chances are Hosa's been involved making everything easier behind the scenes, so the least I can do is shout them out. I keep the merch in the other room. Most things are in stock, I think, but there's only 1 or 2 left in certain sizes, and I'll probably have to get more printed up soon. Let me know what other colors you'd be interested in, because right now it's just vintage black. They're super soft, and they come with high integrity stickers, and it really helps with the channel. You can snag it through my shop, link is in the cards and the description, and that's the end of this shameless merch plug. Back to the gear. Over here is the section where I not so subtly hide guitars in the background. It's like a sneak peek of what videos I'm working on. Well, actually, this one is already done. This is a Harley Benton Fusion that I demoed a couple weeks back, at least at the time of this filming. I don't know when this will be edited, to be honest. Hopefully soon. Anyways, this guitar is actually headed off to Chef Brian's house after I finish making this video. Now, whenever I sell a guitar, especially so soon after a review, I always get questions. Didn't you just demo this guitar and say you liked it? Were you lying? Why are you getting rid of it? No, I wasn't lying. I do like the guitar. But a lesson I learned the hard way after moving twice in the span of a few weeks, I really don't need 20 guitars. It's not like I have 40 hands. Plus, it is a nice guitar, but Floyd Super Strats aren't really my style, so if I'm not gonna play it, it deserves to go to a better home. And Chef Brian Tao, he's famous. He beat Bobby Flay. He's got a blue check mark next to his Instagram name. Gotta get that celebrity connect. But yeah, next studio tour video, it's not going to be here. I just wanted to show it off before it leaves my life forever. And this is one that I'm currently working on right now. It's the Charvel Satchel Signature. It is far and away the most obnoxious looking guitar I have ever had on the channel. And it's stupid amounts of fun. I mean, just look at it. What a dumb guitar. I love it. So in this current apartment, we don't really have a living room. I do all my filming out here, so here's kind of what I see when I've got the camera on. I use 2 of these softbox lights, I do Agufish at my desk, so I'm looking this way. Master of Puppets, what a sick album. And the main videos, I'm looking this way. Yeah, the camera's on a stand that's on a cardboard box. Make do with what you have. Since I've got the wall space now, I got some massive wire shelving units from a surplus warehouse. It's pretty funny, I actually got a huge discount because I spoke Chinese with the owners of the warehouse. But I don't know where I put everything before I got these. They are so nice. All the gig bags, hard cases are on there, pedals I don't use anymore that I should probably sell. Dunlop Original Crybaby, TS9, Maxon OD808X, Mad Butt Weasel Fuzz, Vic Audio Overdriver, EHX Soul Food, Ditto Looper. The trash parts from the Hello Kitty I might be thinking of putting into a more expensive Strat for a stupid video. My Gibson badges from NAMM are just hanging there. A bunch of Fishman pickups, I kinda like those. So that's the room that I make everything, but I know a lot of you just want to see what guitars I've kept, like what's in my personal collection, so yeah, let's look at guitars. Here's the bass that I sometimes very rarely use. It's a Squier Bullet P bass from forever ago when I still lived in China. This knob is loose. I don't really play bass, I don't know much about it, so let's move on. I've got two Martin acoustics. The first is a D12X1AE I bought off a friend in college when he moved back to India and didn't want to take it back. I love the sound, I just hate tuning the damn thing. Like probably 75% of the time I spend playing with this thing is just tuning. But if it's in tune, it sounds so good. Then my one 6-string acoustic is a Martin SWD GT that I bought used from Guitar Center. It's part of the Sustainable Wood series, and so the majority of the guitar is made from cherry instead of traditional guitar materials. And I guess that makes me feel good about myself for owning it, but more importantly, it's just an amazing acoustic guitar in every way. I love it so much. I strummed like one G chord on it, and then I was like, yep, I'm buying this. Then moving on to the two guitar racks, it's kind of getting out of hand. I own one 8-string. It's a Korean-made Michael Kelly 508. It's like a modern 8-string telly with Rockfield pickups and a burled maple top. 8 strings are so hard to play. Not really my thing, but it's nice to have one in the stable just for the extra gent factor. I also have its little brother, the Michael Kelly 507 with a striped ebony top. It's basically exactly the same guitar, but with a shorter scale and one less string. Next up, this is one of my newest additions to the stable. It's a custom-built 10S GF 7-string. Basically, 10S hit me up and asked if they could make me a custom guitar. I was skeptical, but I said, yeah, sure, and basically gave them a challenge that was kinda traditional, kinda out of the ordinary. And this is the final result. It is on display at NAMM. Spec-wise, it's decked out. One-piece mahogany body, stained burled maple cap, matching headstock, ebony fingerboard with a compound radius, 7-piece flame maple Paduke, and rosewood neck. It's even got the Agufish logo on the 12th fret and the Mola Mola on the back of the headstock. Look how fucking cute that is. They even laser engraved the specs into this wood piece right here. There are a couple typos, but still, how sick is that? Design-wise, the only thing I'm really iffy on is how massive the headstock is, but having it this long lessens the string angle at the nut, so helps tuning stability. So yeah, no video yet, but this has gotten such a good response on Instagram that there's been a suggestion of maybe a limited production run to make them more affordable. Maybe a 6-string version instead. I know 7s aren't everybody's thing, but yeah, this color, carved burl top with a matching headstock, and a satin nitro finish. And if the GF Relics pricing is anything to go off of, it will be quite affordable too, so let me know in the comments if that's something that you're interested in. Personally, I would love to see a 6-string version, but I may be a little biased. And that's it for extended range. It's not because I don't enjoy them, but I'm definitely more comfortable with 6 strings. Next up are my 2 pink Strats. At this point, the entire channel is pretty much just built off of these 2 ridiculous guitars. This one I got in China for 30 bucks. Now it's got Hipshot hardware and tuners, Fishman Fluent single width pickups wired up by Ken Susi of Unearthed, and a Graphtech nut. And of course the Hello Kitty with the same tuners and nut and a freaking Evertune. These guitars get a stupid amount of hate for even existing as they do for some reason, but I fucking love them, so whatever. This is my Squier Bullet Strat, and it's one of those that I will never, ever be selling. It has so much sentimental value, as you'd expect from a first guitar. It's obviously not stock. The stock pickups were bona fide garbage, so I replaced them a couple years back with custom wound Buddha pickups. By the way, if you're in the market for new pickups, you should totally check out Buddha. It's one guy that hand winds pickups to your spec from his garage. They're like less than $100 each, and they're awesome. But yeah, in here I've got a couple of slightly hotter than vintage single coils, and the bridge is kind of crazy. The main magnet is an Alnico 5, and then there's two ceramic flankers. So it's like warm chunkiness plus like a little bit of bite. It's the same concept behind Misha Mansour's bare knuckle Juggernaut bridge, and because I know I'm gonna get questions, these hair ties are just like a poor man's version of a Jimmy clip. Just eliminate ringing. But yeah, other than that, nothing's really been changed on this guitar, so it's ripe for a high integrity mod project maybe down the line. Better pots, better tuners, better bridge, maybe stainless steel frets, I don't know. This next one is a Harley Benton CST 24T. It's obviously based off of PRS SE Custom 24, but with a flatter fingerboard, no bird inlays, and a lot more affordable. It's a really good player, and so I'm thinking of installing a fret zealot system on there for it to be my learning guitar. Either that, or it is ripe for a mod project. To the right is another Harley Benton, a DC606. This is the first Harley Benton that I tried, and it was the one that sold me on the brand. Like, it convinced me that Thomann wasn't just trying to make a quick buck, they were actually on a mission to see how much guitar they could possibly pack in while hitting entry-level price points. It's definitely not the best guitar that Harley Benton makes, and even this model has gotten a lot better since I got mine, but to me, it was still an indication of the potential and vision that Thomann had for the brand. So I don't really play it at all. I can't even remember the last time I picked it up. I've kept it more at a sentimental value than anything, and I've also upgraded the pickups to hand-wound Buddhas. These ones are based off of a Nazgul Fat Cat Sentient combo, and it sounds stupidly kick-ass. One thing about this guitar though, the strap button is in a really dumb place. But anyways, the reason I picked that one is because for years, my main guitar, what I started learning all those Lamb of God riffs on, was this Epiphone G400 Custom. It was a special 2006 limited edition for music123.com. This one looks way cooler than the standard one, which is more of a vintage white and doesn't have the vibrola. At the time, I had started to take guitar quite seriously and wanted to upgrade from Squier. So at the time, I was still living in Shanghai and I spent a summer tutoring English to, I'll just say it, spoiled Chinese kids. You know, going through Dr. Seuss books and stuff like that. And at the end of the summer, I had saved enough money to get my first, I guess, proper guitar. It's got Grover tuners, the plastic nut still needs to be replaced, but I have swapped out the bridge with Godot. I wasn't ever a fan of the stock Epiphone pickups, so for a while, because of Willie Adler, I had a Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge. A few years later, when I had saved up a little bit more money, I put a 59 in the neck and a Fat Cat in the middle. They were both chrome though, because I couldn't afford the gold, even used. Now the bridge and the neck are custom on Buddhas based off of the Black Winter set, but with aged gold covers, and I've still got the chrome Fat Cat in the middle. It's such a cool pickup combo. This guitar has so many dings and scratches and paint chips. It's been on airplanes with me back and forth from Asia. I've lent it to friends who have abused it. I love this guitar. It looks a bit janky and it needs some maintenance work, but to me, it's a forever guitar. Next up is my newest guitar. It is a Fender Player Series Telecaster. Now, this is not a guitar that I thought that I would ever own. When I first started playing guitar and had the choice between a Bullet Strat or a Bullet Tele, I didn't even hesitate. I went right for the Strat. I thought the Tele was one of the ugliest things that I had ever seen. It was blocky, there was a huge empty space between the two pickups, and the small headstock looked ridiculous. I can't wait for you to hear the demo track I wrote for it. It is one of the most inspiring instruments that I've played recently. I actually got it because Fender asked if I wanted to check out their new Mustang GT amp, or whatever it's called, and I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to take a look at a Telecaster. I will admit, I'm still in the honeymoon period, but I've played enough guitars now to know when I've got a keeper, and this is one of them. Surprisingly, the only LP-shaped guitar on this rack is a Kramer Assault 220 Plus that Algin from Epiphone sent me to check out, basically as an introduction to Kramer, since I had never tried one. And by the way, shout out to Algin, he's doing huge things for Epiphone, Kramer, and Steinberger. So this one's got a nice satin neck with a bit of a D shape, 24 jumbo frets, no inlays, Seymour Duncan pickups, both individually splittable. I showed it off on a recent Agufish episode, and I got a lot of requests to do a full video on it, but I don't think I will, for the simple reason that you can't buy this anywhere, at least not in this configuration. It's been completely discontinued. There aren't even eBay listings for it. Still a fun guitar though, and it's got me excited to check out the new lineup we saw at NAMM. So you won't see a video of this particular one, but you will see Kramer stuff here. Then moving on to the Rack O single cuts, on the end here is my 10S GF Vintage. This guitar, no joke, is probably one of the most pleasant gear surprises I've come across while doing this YouTube thing. Before the custom arrived, 10S Guitars slid into my DMs and asked if they could send me something. Still hadn't even seen my custom yet, and they sent me this thing, which looked incredibly beat up. And I ended up liking it so much that when we were discussing doing a giveaway, they asked, so do you want to send the one you have? And I was like, nah, you can just make a new one for the winner. And so yeah, I was able to keep this guitar. I mean, the Relicking is a little overdone, but the big, chunky-ass neck, aged hardware, ebony fingerboard, mother of pearl inlays, and an actual legit nitro finish for like 400 bucks. That's insane, and it sounds good too. This next guitar is one of my favorites of all time. It's a highly modified 1972 Gibson Les Paul Custom. The husk was for sale by itself on eBay, and so I snagged that. Right now it's rocking Spurzl locking tuners, Goto hardware, and the Fishman Fluence Willie Adler signature set. It sounds monstrous, and the look of a beat-up black Les Paul Custom with gold hardware is just the definition of class. I even got a brass engraved truss rod cover for it because, I mean, I just had to. One thing that always throws people off is the bridge. One of the previous owners decided it needed a sustain block under the bridge, and so now it only fits import style posts. It also weighs like 7 billion pounds, so I have to use a bass strap with it. But I mean, if my house is on fire, that's the guitar I'm picking up and running out with. And right next to it is my number one. It's a 2010 made in Japan ESP Eclipse 2 standard, and it is far and away the best playing guitar that I have. Like, playing this guitar is basically effortless. It's hard to explain just how good it feels to play. Like, LTDs are great, Gibsons are great, and this is just next level good. It's so satisfying because I'm never fighting with it. Like, I can just focus on being creative. Like, honestly, if I'm struggling to come up with something, I'll just pick up this guitar and that's what I'll use to write. Currently, it's rocking the classic EMG 8160 set with the 18-volt mod, which I've been meaning to replace with Fishman Fluence Moderns, but even the wiring is a masterpiece. I feel like if I mess with it in any way, I'm almost disrespecting the Japanese luthiers that put it together. I mean, the guitar as it is just pure perfection. Moving on to my Chapman ML2 Pro Modern. This has one of the most glorious looking tops I've ever seen on a guitar under $1,500. Like, it's a proper pattern cap, but I don't even know, is it quilted? Is it flamed? Whatever it is, it's fucking gorgeous. Then it's got neck-through construction, hip-shot open gear locking tuners, stainless steel frets, rolled fingerboard edges, lumen lays, and I've installed the Fluence kill switch and gauge set. The Chapman Pro stuff just feels incredible. If the ESP and the Gibson are my number 1 and number 2, the Chapman is probably number 3. As soon as I did the review, I knew that I would have to own an ML2 one day, and I was super happy to add one that looked like this to my collection. Continuing at the theme of blue guitars, this is my Agile AL3200 MCC. This is a $500 guitar, and for the money, it is insane. It's made in Korea, ebony fingerboard, mother of pearl inlays, neck-through construction, an actual maple cap, Grover tuners, and a Graphtec bridge with string saver saddles. It weighs a ton though, so I'm using a super thick padded strap. It's a really cool guitar. When I first got it, I was blown away with the quality and features for the money, and every time I pick it up, it's the same thing all over again. I am thinking of switching out the electronics with the chrome EMG headset I have lying around, and maybe switching out the amber knobs for something not as ugly. But yeah, I'm talking to Kurt about doing more Agile videos in the future because they make some awesome stuff, and then especially for the money, they're even more awesome. Then here's the first PRS SE I've owned. PRS wasn't huge in China, so I never had a strong affinity towards the brand growing up like I did with Gibson or Fender because of Epiphone and Squier. It was only after I started getting really into Alter Bridge that I started giving PRS a look because of Mark Tremonti. So I guess it's only natural that my first PRS SE is the Tremonti signature. After the Agile, this is probably the heaviest import model that I've got. It feels incredibly solid. Right now it's my go-to guitar for open tunings because Tremonti, and I've been thinking of doing a lot of modifications to it, like replace the tuners with Godot, the nut with Graphtec, and the pickups with Seymour Duncan, just for fun. I mean, right now it's not bad. It's one of those guitars, yeah, it's a signature model, but it comes with a lot of generic parts. So even though it's got Tremonti on the headstock, there's a lot of room to make it your own. These next three are quite interesting, and I have to be careful about what I say here. I'm not even sure what I'm allowed to say because nothing is finalized. I've been teasing these prototypes on Instagram and Facebook for a while, and I guess it's time to finally share them with YouTube. Actually, I'm not even going to say anything about them. I'm just going to show you a bunch of teaser B-roll footage, and I would love your feedback on them. I've been kind of scared to show you guys because, well, maybe scared's not the right word, but they're not done. And I have no idea when they're gonna come out. With anything that I do, whether it's a video or the merch or this collaboration with Toman, I take a lot of pride in my work and I want to make sure that everything is as good as it can be before it's released. So yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments. I would love to know what you think. Then I almost forgot about this one. It's from a company called ALP that specializes in these pro-level travel-style guitars and basses. They're actually quite big in China, like a lot of big names in Chinese rock use them. They gave this to me at Music China a couple years ago, which is like NAMM but way bigger. They said they'd be launching this model in the US soon, and it would be great if I made a video of it when it was available on Amazon. I said, yeah, absolutely, and then not only did it never make it to the US, but then this model was completely discontinued everywhere. So I never made the video, and I think headless guitars look very awkward, but it's actually a really cool guitar. It's got like metal frames that you can deploy for playing mode and then retract for travel. It's got 24 frets, ebony fingerboard, Canadian maple neck with a satin finish. I believe these are actual mother of pearl inlays. Then it's got pickups that pay tribute to DiMarzio Air Classics and a full floating tremolo. I mean, it's a pretty wacky guitar. Completely forgot that I had that. So yeah, that's what the current setup and everything is. It is quite a bit, so I'll probably be selling a lot in the next few months. The community is growing, which is amazing, but as you can see, this is still very much an out of the bedroom operation that I'm just trying to make work. And I'm not trying to show you all the stuff to flex. Okay, maybe a little bit. I am quite proud of my collection, but I guess it's more of a thank you video. Like when I first started the channel, it was just for fun. I didn't expect many people to ever watch, which is why the channel name has nothing to do with guitars at all. And really it was just a creative outlet, and I wanted to use it to meet industry people and ultimately get a job in guitar. What it's turned into is mind-blowing. If you're watching this video, if you've ever watched any of my videos or left a thumbs up or comment, this and the opportunities afforded to me, it's because of you. It's a crazy ride, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Thank you for taking it with me. So yeah, if you really enjoy what I do, you can check out my Patreon and buy a shirt. I've got big plans for the channel, so I appreciate every bit of support, even if it's just a thumbs up on the video. You can also get subscribed if you're not yet and hit the bell for notifications, which sometimes work. As always, thanks so much for watching, you've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.